Let's see. We're going to take a couple minutes to get set up. Just like always, we're going to spend 3-5 minutes hanging out, getting everything kind of turned on and up and running and ready to go. My nose is killing me. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Open. So how is everyone today? We're going to be a couple minutes. I want to share this with a bunch of groups and just double check that all my stuff is working as long as we're here. Jeez, not live. All right, it's gonna be noisy for a sec when I sound check. Yeah, we're good there. Okay. So everyone at home that's listening, watching, whatever, say hello. I'd love to hear from you guys. If no one's really chatting, we're just going to go through this at my pace as I feel like it. I'm going to take a couple minutes to share this live on Facebook because we kind of have a small audience. And I'd love to get this out to some, real people. But pretty please put in your comments. What are your questions about investing? Do you have any questions, comments, concerns, things that you're thinking about, deals you want looked at? We can cover all that type of stuff today. Just got back from the gym. I'm tired. All right, guys, just one more minute here to get posts out. And let's get started. So, hello everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Bryan, the Beekeeping Realtor. A lot of people locally don't think I do much investments, but the first thing I ever got, I got licensed up in Chehalis, Washington with Century 21 Lund. And as soon as I was licensed, everyone gets assigned a mentor, basically, someone that really teaches them the ropes, has them tag along for their deals, all that kind of fun stuff. And my first deal ever was helping a fantastic guy named Ed. And our job was to get rid of this investor's portfolio. It was a lot of properties, all commercial places, all investment properties. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot about investment properties. It was the first thing I ever did. I've never done anything true commercial, like a full-on business, but I own a couple. But I started my career doing nothing but how many units was the biggest one? I think the biggest place was a 10-plex, 1 through 10 plexes. And from there, I went into residential. So I know a thing or two about investing, not everything there is to know, but quite a bit. Okay. So let's take a second and talk about investments and how to make money, how to lose money, things you should look out for, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to try. I've never done this before. Is it going to let me replace this with... Can I do a screen share? Is that going to work? Okay, hold on. If we go to our handy dandy Google Keep, is that the one you can draw on? Go to our paint. Okay, we can do that. So we can share screen, probably. There it goes, share. How does that look? Okay, perfect. So, are we sharing anything weird? Taking long routes? Okay, got it. So as we are talking about investing, as long as the screen doesn't crash, something crashed. As long as we're talking about investing, we're going to break this down into basically the easiest types of investing. You're going to see a lot of people that invest in real estate doing wholesaling and subject to and all kinds of stuff. But let's just be real for a minute. Most of those things, does that just crash it every time I do that? Crashes it every time I do that. Okay. So how are we going to do this? I think you can still see me. Okay. So we're going to break this down into two main types of, really? Okay. We're just not going to draw today. I thought we were going to draw. It's just not going to work. So we're going to break this down into two main types of real estate investing. Okay. Now, the first is going to be what's called buy and hold. That's when you have rentals. And the second is going to be fix and flip. That's going to be when you buy something that needs some work and you fix it up. Okay. So, first, let's talk about fix and flips because those are some of my favorites. That's probably the best way for new investors to make a lot of money quick to do other things. So, for the fix and flip strategy, you're going to be looking at properties based on two things. First, you look at what's called the ARV, the after repair value. Okay. The after repair value is the amount of money that home will be worth fixed up. Now, this isn't chemistry. You don't know that you put in this type of countertop or this type of thing and you get the best bang for the buck. You don't know. So, when doing fix and flippers, right? Flipping houses, you want to typically work on items that are cosmetic that will get you the best return on investment. You don't really want to work on things that are functional unless you need to, unless it's something that's really, really messed up. For the most part, the functional stuff, don't touch it. Let buyers ask for it after inspection. Okay. Now, how do you fix and flip? Well, first, you look at the after repair value. Let's say it's worth $1 million. We could write that down if our other thing was working. What the heck is going on with our buttons here? Our buttons are doing weird things. We lost all of our things when that crashed, huh? We had all kinds of cool stuff on the screen that just went away. We need this guy back. We lost our other guy, our QR code. There it is. Get this guy back. Okay. So we're taking our after repair value and we're figuring out what it's going to take to repair it. So you're basically going to walk into a home and go, hey, it's worth $1 million. What's it for sale for? Now, most of the time for people that are investing, they want to try to get the home for around 70% of the after repair value, up to around 90% of the after repair value. Because you got to pay, 5-6% for realtors, a couple percent to get it fixed up, a couple percent for taxes, right? So if there's only a 10% profit margin, there's not really any money in that game, right? Unless there's a very specific niche where someone isn't going to make very much. So you typically want to see a home that, is worth $1 million, listed around $700,000 to $800,000. Okay. Then you're going to go into it and you're going to figure out what the heck everything costs. Now, this can be really hard if your area is competitive because people that are well seasoned have relationships with people to fix stuff up for really cheap. So like with every business, I've run a couple businesses. Your first couple of fix and flips, you might lose money. You're not going to make much money. You're not usually going to strike gold in your first several deals. Again, in any business, fixing and flipping is the same thing. But you're going to try to find something that needs really minimal investments. Usually stuff like carpet, paint, sheetrock, that kind of stuff are the best things to fix. Kind of like my listing over in Ortega. Needs new carpet, needs new paint, needs new sheetrock. Those are the types of properties that are like perfect for starting out. Don't look for big stuff. If something has like foundation issues or like roof issues, you're going to get over your head. Now, again, for seasoned investors, you can do it, right? But we're specifically talking about new investors. So for new investors, you can find a place that needs mostly cosmetic work, nothing too crazy. You can buy for somewhere between 70 and 80% of the after repair value. That should give you enough budget to do it. Once you get under contract, you can really bring out contractors and do a whole bunch of work, figuring out exactly what it's going to cost to fix. And you want to figure out exactly what it's going to cost to fix. Because when you take your total amount, $1 million, right? Or let's say $800,000, then you add on your $40,000 of repairs, you add on your $40,000 for realtor fees, you add on your closing costs and your other stuff. That dollar amount at the end is your profit, right? And you always want to have fudge factor because as you're doing this stuff, you're going to find more errors than you think. Now, with all of these projects, we're going to have some universal stuff. We're going to circle back to the universal stuff later. But in short, that is what fixing and flipping is. You find a place for 70 to 80%, if you can less, of the after repair value. Do cosmetic stuff. Don't do anything complicated, okay? Strategy 2 is going to be buy and hold. Now, fixing and flipping is very attractive because you can buy a home, fix and flip it, sell it, in 2 months, 4 months, you can have tens of thousands of dollars in your pocket for not too much work. But then it's done, right? You're done with it. Now, with long-term investing, a buy and hold, you're going to buy a property and then you're going to sit on it. You're going to put tenants in there, okay? When you put your tenants in there, they're going to pay you every month. So your strategy is going to be a long strategy. Now, when you're doing these long strategies, you're going to make money two main different ways. There's a couple others that kind of fit in, but there's two main different ways. First, you're going to make money off of the tenant paying you rent every month. That's going to give you some cash in. And then, if you're lucky, in some areas, the property value will go up, and that will put some more money in your pocket. So for a fix and flipper, when they're looking at a home, they're looking at, can I buy it, fix it, and sell it and make a profit? For an investor, they're looking at what we call cap rate. Cap rate is if you take the total amount of money spent or that the tenants are giving you every single month, right? Not month, for the year, all the money they're giving you for the year, you take all of that money and then you divide that by the purchase price of the home. That is your cap rate, okay? So if it's $100,000 house that pays $5,000 a year in rent, that's a 5% cap rate, okay? So you're going to have a lot of people that like a lot of different numbers in this respect. And you have to be very careful because 5% in California is very different from 5% in a super rural area. So when you're living somewhere that has really good appreciation, like a lot of places say California has good appreciation because our prices go up 4, 8, 10% per year, right? COVID was up 20% per year. Wild. Your investment is making money because the property is appreciating. So in California, people, at least Los Angeles area, maybe not like Bakersfield, I don't know. I don't know that area as well. But in less expensive areas, the cap rate has to be much higher versus in Los Angeles, for example, I know investors that will buy with like a 2 cap, a 1 cap, because they're going to buy it long enough and they believe values will go up. So you have to weigh the pros and cons of what you project property values are going to do and what the rents are. But in general, for new investors, I probably wouldn't invest in a property unless it's in decent shape. You don't have to do a lot to it to fix it up. And you have a cap rate of at least 1% higher than your loan rate. So if your loan rate is 7% right now, unless it's an 8 cap, I wouldn't really jump for it. And we're not seeing very many of those. Compare that to what's selling very often in Ventura County. Right now, Ventura County, we're seeing a lot of like 3 caps, 4 caps selling a lot pretty quickly. It's different. So you need to figure out, what is your goal? Is your goal appreciation and the home value increasing? Or is it that you need cash flow, you need money in your pocket every month? Now, some people will do both, the cash flow and the fix and flip, right? They'll buy a piece of junk, fix it, flip it, then put a tenant in there, and they're really making money, which is awesome. It's all based on your strategy, but those are the two main strategies, using after repair value and using cap rate. Those are your two big money things. Now, something I get all the time is, Bryan, my area, too expensive. Los Angeles, average house is $1 million. Can't do it. How about we buy, insert little tiny town here, right? Idaho, Minnesota. I don't know. What I will say is that you really should not invest anywhere unless you know the area, you've been there, you're willing to go there. And we come across this a lot where people are investing into areas that they don't know. Now, let me tell you a little something, okay? I'm in Southern California. We have earthquakes and fault lines. We have fires and all the insurance and stuff that goes along with it. We have galvanized plumbing. We have asbestos. We have, all kinds of things that might not be specific to necessarily California, but it's definitely not going to pertain to the entire United States, okay? For example, you go to buy in Florida, need new windows, no big deal. California windows aren't that bad, right? Florida windows are ridiculously expensive. They have to be hurricane proof, okay? So little things like that you don't know can be a big deal. For example, investing up in Washington, pocket gophers, there's an endangered gopher. If there's an endangered gopher on your land, good luck building, good luck doing anything with the property. So you have to be very cautious of those. They have a lot more wells. You have to know how the wells work. There's a lot more rain. You have to know how to deal with all of the mold and the moisture and all that type of stuff, right? So if you don't know the area personally, it's not a place that you can personally go, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage because you don't know everything. Now, one of my biggest nightmares was not an investment per se, but it was someone buying a home. They bought a home in Washington, and inspection came back good. The well seemed a little weird, but not really a big deal. It turned out in that little part of town that we bought, all the water is salt water. It's horrible. Horrible. I can't believe we got the house, but we didn't have the experience for it. And inspector said nothing, title said nothing. A lot of people didn't know about how bad the water was. So things like that are going to be really, really important, and you really need the local knowledge. So if you don't live somewhere that is very affordable, go and visit there. Go rent there for a while before you throw hundreds of thousands of dollars in a town that you know nothing about, that won't necessarily go well for you. I do know some people have done quite well with these types of investments, but you got to be so careful. Okay. So careful. So on top of that, when you're buying locally, you can go, right? If the tenant calls and says, hey, my light bulb's out, you can drive out and screw in the light bulb. If the house is 1,000 miles away, you're not going to drive out to plug in a light bulb, but a handyman's going to charge you $50, $80 to screw in that light bulb for you. So your profit margin is going to be way lower. And on your first investment, like I said, you're looking at a goal of making 20, 30% or less, right? Well, your property management company is going to take just about 5% of the value of the home every month. They charge a lot. So not 5%, I'm sorry, 5% of your rent roll every month. So your profit's going to be cut by about 5% every year, sometimes more, sometimes less, by your property management company. If you can do it yourself, which, slippery slope, you don't want to kill yourself doing it yourself, but also that 5% of your profit is a big deal, right? You should do it yourself, especially the first 3 to 5 years until the property value starts catching up. So in terms of investing, right, just to recap, we got buy and hold, okay, and we got fix and flip. For the buy and hold, you're going to be looking at the cap rate, and the cap rate, if you're new, ideally should be at least 1% higher than the interest rate that you have. If you are doing a fix and flip, aim for around 70 to 80% of the after repair value. Buy locally or somewhere that you know. And if you need any help figuring out and navigating all this, you know what to do. Call Castro. And that's the short version. We're making some videos about it. We're going to do a lot of other stuff involving investing in the next couple weeks. So if you want a more succinct, more graphically inviting, because my graphics here crashed on this live, check out the YouTube channel. We're going to have all kinds of cool stuff coming out. This month I'm really excited about. We're going to be doing a lot of cool things. So tune back in and, check us out. Every Sunday around 7 o'clock, we join in here, and the lives will be longer if people are asking questions and engaging. And for those of you watching, the big thing right now, the big thing is the NAR lawsuit. And we're going to have a whole live on the NAR lawsuit once I get more details on it. I've been very reluctant to take a lot of time and talk about the NAR lawsuit because I think that everyone is still kind of figuring out how it works. And because everyone is figuring out how it works, I don't want to give away bad information. I think that a lot of people in the real estate community have been so excited to get on the fast news cycle that they're putting out a lot of, I won't say misinformation. That's not necessarily true because they're using the information that's given to them, but the information is changing so quickly that it turns into misinformation, right? So for right now, we have two big rules, two big things that have changed. First thing is that we can no longer advertise buyer agency commission on the MLS. Okay, so we're no longer going to see that. A ton of agents are going to handle that a ton of different ways. It's going to be a disaster. Okay, a disaster. What I kind of like personally is that a lot of people are saying, hey, no buyer's agency commissions at all. just ask for your buyer's agency commission on your offer as a credit. I love that. I think that's going to be the way to go. I think that's the future. A lot of agents are trying to put their buyer agency commissions on websites or saying, hey, call for the buyer's agency commission. It's going to be a tremendous amount of work and really confusing for people doing it that way. I hope that that is not how everything settles out. But in the near future, those commissions are going to be very negotiable, and how people are paying agents are going to be really, really weird. So on that same note, we can no longer show homes unless someone is has a signed buyer agency agreement. Okay, we can't let you in open houses. We can't show you a home. We can't do anything unless we receive the signed buyer agency agreement. Okay, so open houses are basically dead. For you to get in, you've got to sign stuff. And I am telling everyone right now, don't sign a single thing. Don't do that. Find a buyer's agent, hire them, decide, commit to them, because what I think is going to happen a lot is that a lot of people are going to have a lot of deceptive junk on the open house sign-in sheets now, because we have to make people sign it. I think that a lot of people are going to get taken advantage of. So I'm urging, I'm begging, I am insisting, if you are a buyer looking to buy a home in the near future, for goodness sake, please, I know that you don't want to sign anything. I know that it's scary. I know it's frustrating, but pretty please, pick an agent, sign the buyer agency agreement with one person, and just make your life easy. Don't do like folks have been doing for I don't even know how long, and spend all your time looking at open houses or being afraid to call buyer's agent or any of that kind of stuff. Now is not the time for that anymore, I don't think. And I think that people that do go out of their way to try and do that stuff are going to get really punished. Like they're gonna, a lot of people that do that are gonna have really bad stories and really bad times. So we are going to do a live on the full details on that as we get closer to the 17th when it goes live. But for right now, for any buyers, sellers, investors, you know what to do. Call Castro, and I'll catch you guys next week or next time we're doing something that's worthy of a live. Talk soon.